Hello. Tonight I'm going to be changing the scope rail on this Ruger American Rimfire 22 long rifle. It's the stainless steel version, and I'm changing from the factory Ruger scope mount to a DI Products Picatinny rail with an ejection port cutout. One thing I'll be talking about in this is scope sizes and usable space, and don't think that you have to replace your Ruger scope mount. It is rather limiting, but when I talk about usable space, I'm going to talk about what this will get you compared to the factory Ruger. And as you can immediately see, there's the overhang right here that sticks out longer than the factory. It actually sticks out on both ends. The shell ejection cutout does cut down on usable space, especially with a compact scope. But just let me show you the install on this. And DI Products, I know nothing about them. I'm usually a Evolution Gunworks scope mount guy, but on this particular rifle I wanted a silver Picatinny rail, and that's a special order deal from Evolution Gunworks. It costs more money and takes like 6 weeks, so I just did an internet search, found this one, and figured I'd give it a try. It looked pretty interesting, especially with the ejection port cut out. But I'll show you after the install about the usable space. I think the DI Products, I'm anticipating it will be more versatile with a full-size scope than a compact scope, or like a single mount red dot holograph, something like that. Alright. Now this is just a T10 bit to take out the factory screws. They came out quite easy, and actually I'm seeing no kind of sign of any type of thread locker from the factory, which that seems strange. Usually they have excessive thread locker on them, but as you can see, just as a quick comparison, the added length you're going to get from the DI Products due to the overhang out the front on the rail. And it looks like it matches up perfectly on the holes. Now the instructions, I'm just going to read you the instructions. They're quite simple and quite short. Align the rail on the top of the receiver. Put a small amount of Loctite purple on each of the screws and start them into the holes. After the screws are started, torque them to 8 to 10 inch-pounds. Let cure for 24 hours before use. Well, first of all, instead of the purple Loctite, I'm going to use the blue gel thread locker. It's just what I've been using. I've had good luck with it, so I'm not changing. But you decide what you want to use. That's fine with me. I'm not telling you what you have to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And I always try to leave them loose until I have all the screws started before you torque them down. And one thing I will say about DI Products, I was in their cart checking out, and they had an option to pay by check. I went through the shopping cart, got the invoice, and went to print out the invoice, and my printer died on me. So I actually sent them a handwritten letter with a personal check. And in these days of firearms purchases over the internet, when you can do that, it's pretty amazing. I was quite impressed with them. I got it pretty quick too. I mean, I'm sure they waited for the check to clear, but I was just amazed somebody on the internet would take a check. And actually, 8 to 10 inch-pounds of torque is just a tiny, tiny amount of torque. So small to be actually unbelievable. I'm sure they just do that so they have an out if you strip out your screws. But of the three, actually I have four, of the 4 torque wrenches I have, none of them are accurate on that low of torque. I need to get a gunsmith torque wrench. So I'm actually just snugging these with a little finger pressure. And honestly, that's probably 15 to 20 pounds. But that's it for the install. Now, as you can see, you have much greater length on the DI products compared to the factory Ruger. The bolt's unencumbered. But back to this usable space I was talking about. And oops, that's the wrong one. That's the one set up for the Ruger. Now I've got apples and oranges here. This is a UTG bug buster on a cantilever, but it's set up for a Picatinny rail. So it's just the principle I want to show you here. Okay. I'm going in the farthest forward rear before the cutout. All right, that's one. I can't go any farther because of the cutout. All right, so now I go back one, and that's two. All right, so there's 2 sets of rails, or 2 notches, two notches on the Picatinny rail that this one-piece cantilever that's set up on Picatinny are usable on. They're not usable on these back 2 at all. They're not usable on the entire overhang at all. Now, set up on, and these are compact scopes, set up on the original factory Ruger, all the way back gave me one. The next one up gave me one, and I'm already at the end. So even though the DI Products is significantly longer with this overhang on the front, with a compact scope or with a one-piece cantilever scope mount, you only have 2 adjustment points, two spots to set the scope on either of one of these. So my guess of what DI Products has designed this for, is a full-length scope, which both of my full-length scopes are currently mounted in non-removable mounts. So I didn't get one off. But I'm just saying, this rail will give you significantly more usable space on a full-size scope compared to a compact scope. And that's basically all I got for you guys. You have a nice day. I'll tell you how it shoots, but I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the install and the purchase. There is a groove cut in the entire length of the Picatinny rail, so you can see through to see your iron sights. However, this stainless model of the Ruger American Rimfire is the sightless wonder with the threaded barrel, so it's kind of irrelevant. That groove's kind of irrelevant. And I want to say Evolution Gunworks, other companies, Adley Precision. I've seen other people that groove the rail to get a sight picture through it. But all in all, first impressions, DI products, I'm pretty happy with it. It's just, I feel this is best for a full-size scope. You have a nice day now. Bye-bye.